Churches are usually a place of reflection and worship, though they are also a place where hundreds of bodies are buried. It is perhaps no wonder that some are haunted by their dead. Perhaps the most beautiful and yet most haunting cemetery of them all lies at the top of 199 stone stairway. Whitby's parish church, St Mary's, was founded in 1110. The church's location at the top of the 199 steps means that it is quite an effort to carry a coffin up to its final resting place. Wealthy families could use a horse and carriage to go up the track parallel to the steps. Unfortunately, the salt and wind from the sea render most of the stones in the graveyard ineligible. They look like rotten garland teeth stumps sticking out of the grass. The gravestones in this churchyard are very old. The graveyards in London only date from the middle of the 1800s, and most of the headstones in St Mary's graveyard date from the 1700s. Whitby was once teeming with sailors. Unfortunately, sailors died nearby and had to be buried in the ground instead of the traditional burial at sea. This caused their souls to become restless. In Northern English folklore, Barghest or Bargust is a mythical monstrous black dog with large teeth and claws. Locals would often report seeing the Barghest visiting the grave of a sailor on the third night of burial. It is reported that the Barghest would grab the soul of the sailor from its grave. It would then make its way through the graveyard and into the darkness towards the sea. Other tales tell of sailors who die on land. It is said that on the third night after their funeral, their grave is visited by a phantom coach. This coach is pulled through St Mary's churchyard by headless horses, and it carries a company of skeleton sailors who mourn the passing of their fellow seamen. The phantom sailors then take a turn, thrice, 3 times around the grave, summoning the dead man who rises from his grave to join his ghostly companions. Once the skeleton mariners have claimed their own, they climb back into the coach and drive off into the sea mist, which sweeps over the cliffside graveyard. In St Mary's churchyard is the grave of Whitby's very own pirate. This sailor was small, stout and very ugly, but he was one of the best and cruelest pirates in the business. Legend has it he fell in love with the prettiest girl in Whitby, and being aware of his own shortcomings, he knew that she would not court him willingly. He made a pact with the devil to win her heart. Much to everyone's surprise, the girl then accepted his marriage proposal, and the pirate brought her pretty gifts stolen from the victims of his piracy. One such gift was a silk shawl, which had belonged to a girl he'd killed on board a ship. His wife threw it over her shoulders and went to admire herself in the mirror, but it was the victim's bloody face that glared back at her from the glass, and she ran from the house in terror, flinging herself to her death in the harbour. The lovelorn pirate died of a broken heart soon afterwards. It is said that he still haunts the churchyard and surrounding cliffs, searching for his lost love. Another of Whitby's legends includes a rather infamous witch known as Mad Maggie, who lived by St Mary's Church and was often seen keeping a vigil for the dead in the porch. The townspeople were eager to keep on her good side and kept her supplied with her favourite drink, brandy. But she wasn't all bad. Maggie was especially gifted at making sailors' knots, a special charm of knotted string or cloth, which would allow the seamen to enjoy safe passage. It wasn't until the day she died that the full extent of her talents was realised. A great storm swept across the North Sea, taking her soul and many Whitby fishermen with it. Dracula is also associated with Whitby, though Dracula is a fictional character of Bram Stoker's novel, Dracula. There has been many sightings of this nocturnal creature. Witnesses have reported of a tall, pale man who stalks people as they pass through the graveyard. Legend has it that Count Dracula climbed the 199 steps to the graveyard and monastery. He drank the blood of a young girl and then hid in the grave of the suicide victim. The story says that the graves of the girl and suicide are still in the churchyard today. Another popular legend, the tale of the phantom coach, takes place at the top of the Abbey steps. The story says that if you were to walk up the 199 Whitby Abbey steps on a cold dark night, where even the light of the moon only just illuminates the ground, and stand outside St. Mary's Church, you may be in for a fright. Standing in the grounds of St. Mary's Church, the structure towering above you like a proud sibling of the Abbey ruins, you might hear the sound of horses approaching in the distance. If you can further muster the courage to stay, you may see a ghostly horse-drawn carriage charging towards you, with the driver furiously whipping the horses. The sound of the horses' hooves heavily pounding the ground like thunder. As the carriage approaches, the figures are barely visible, and then the carriage holds up outside the church entrance, horses rearing on their hind legs and disappearing. To this day, the reason for this apparition's appearances remains something of a mystery, and we can only speculate as to what may have occurred to cause the figures to return. Skeptics dismiss any notion of St. Mary's being haunted, putting any sightings down to local tales elaborated over the years to attract tourists. But whether St. Mary's is haunted or not comes down to one question: do you believe?